This is an ANTiSEEN record. That's right. That's right. Hey, everybody, let me get everything set up here. Let me see if I can get everything set up here. Okay. That's working. This is working. There's Jeff. I see him. All right, so let me let a few people get in here, and I'll talk a little bit about who we're going to talk to today. And this guy right here, this guy, Jeff Clayton of the band ANTiSEEN, who I grew up listening to when I was a teenager. I guess I'll just start by saying ANTiSEEN changed my life. And when I met them in 1983 at a place called the Yellow Rose in Charlotte, North Carolina, they're really nice and welcoming to me and my friend Mindy. And Joe Young, rest in peace, taught me how to play guitar soon after. And that started me into being able to form bands and do that kind of stuff. Even though I'm a horrible guitar player, I still play guitar for bands. So so we're going to have Jeff Clayton of ANTiSEEN in here. He's been, of course, an original member since the beginning in 1983, and he's still here with us. And so I thought I would get him on here to talk about not necessarily ANTiSEEN so much, but about being a music fan, about being someone in a band, someone who collects all this stuff that Jeff and I kind of grew up around, all this pop culture music stuff from the 70s and into the 80s. So without further ado, let me see if this works here. I'm going to click him in, and then we will see the screen split. Look at that.
Hey, Pilmer.
Hey, what's up, man? Let me turn up my volume here a little bit. So you like it better like this or like that? I think it looks better like this, right?
Yeah.
This right? Okay, cool. All right, so were you just doing ANTiSEEN was just having a live stream from Tom O'Keefe, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it, but
well, it's still on the site. You can go see it.
Oh, good. It'll be up.
Live stays on the site. You know.
Oh, okay. Your mic's cutting out a little bit, but I think just a little. But you're lit up real nice and it looks real clear. The video looks real clear to me. If anybody notices any lagging on my video, let me know in the chat. But yeah, I think everything looks good, huh? You can hear me? Everything good?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me good? Am I still cutting out?
No, it's good now.
Okay.
It's good now. So usually your interviews are about ANTiSEEN specifically. But I just want to talk to you as someone who grew up like I did, in love with music and inspired to start a band. And so I'll just start by asking you, how were you, or who introduced you to music? Like, how do you remember discovering music even existed, or what's your earliest music memory?
Well, I guess, as a kid, I was like most kids. I had those, I had a close and play. Do you remember what that is?
A what?
Close and play.
What is that?
It was, I forgot which toy company put it out, but it was a little red rectangle box that had a lid, and you open the lid, put your record in it, and when you close the lid, there was a needle in the top that would, move along the record, and there's a little speaker there. And I guess, I always listened to kids' records. But I think my taste started changing the first time I heard the Monster Mash. And I remember getting some of my mom's old records, and she had Elvis 45s, which I still have those same 45s right now. And one of the first records I ever fell in love with was a song called Lollipop by the Chordettes. And I've still got the very record from the 50s that my mom had as a teenager. and I confiscated sometime in the early 70s, maybe even the late 60s, and it's been with me ever since. And I remember like the early 70s really looking for stuff that, I mean, but then there's only so much you could do. I mean, if there was something on TV, maybe you'd catch it by chance. I mean, I could read it, but I didn't know what they were talking about. Like if they said Alice Cooper or Black Oak, Arkansas, I didn't know what they meant. And I'll never forget, man. My mom and me and my dad were watching In Concert one night. Because Dad liked music. He liked the Stones and all the '50s guys, and a whole bunch of '60s stuff, and but man, it was the one where Alice Cooper hosted, and I guess this must have been '72, and I just remember my dad's reaction, man, when seeing that. Alice was drunk as hell, rolling all over the stage, and glitter pants with that makeup, and all the guys had not just long hair like the Rolling Stones, like long hair like every girl in the fucking trailer park we lived in. And my dad was losing his shit. Hey, you can't tell the damn women from the men. I swear. Oh God, like,
You were
getting, and so the Christmas of '73. See, mom was always cool with whatever I liked, and anything except the Sex Pistols. I'll tell you that later. But it bought me $1 Billion Babies in the Christmas of '73. That was what opened the floodgates there, man.
Yeah, and it's funny because I had the same kind of situation with my parents. My dad, anything that I liked as far as Kiss or whatever, he always just thought, that's goofy. That's goofy. He'd always say that. And he would just write it off. He didn't want to talk to me about it. Didn't say I couldn't listen to it, but just did not want to be near it, right? My mom, on the other hand, was more like, it's just music. It's innocent. She knew that Kiss was called Knights in Satan's Service, and I was going to Catholic school at the time. But she didn't care. She would tell everybody, all the naysayers, it's just music. It's just fun. And he can listen to whatever he wants. And, even into the 80s, she would give me $9 or $5 for that tour shirt every time I went to a concert. Even if it had bloody heads or Satan on it or whatever, she didn't care. She didn't care. So it's good to have parents like that. Although my parents weren't into music necessarily. They never really turned me on to music. I had to find that through other people. But it's cool that your dad was into some stuff.
Like through acquiring his records, I found out about Chuck Berry and Fats Domino and Johnny Horton and I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. But but I would have to say, hanging around older guys when I was a young guy, 70, 72, 73, 74. We were a military family, Air Force, so we moved around a lot. And I always seem to find the I guess now they would be called stoner guy, but the guy with the long hair, and I was like, hey man, you dig Alice Cooper? Hey, yeah, man. Hey, he likes Alice.
So you started realizing who in the crowd would be more, have your taste just by the way they looked, right? You started figuring that out.
The thing is, I didn't look like that at the time because Mom wasn't having that. About the best I was allowed to get was a very conservative Brian Jones hairdo. Mom she dressed us really groovy, and I showed pictures to my wife Rebecca now, and she's like, I can't believe your mom dressed you guys like that, being in Stanley County. I mean, it looked like we were in swinging London.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting because when you start figuring out, when you're a kid and your mom dresses you, and then you start figuring out, like you and I did when being music fans, you start figuring out who to look towards and what they look like. You know, like you start figuring out what rock and roll looks like and who the fans look like. And then, I mean, with me, I don't know if it happened with you, but at some point, don't you just decide, all right, I'm going to be a weirdo. I'm not going to be like those normal people over there. I don't want to look like that group of people. I want to identify more with being a weirdo, really.
I mean, I don't know if it was even a clear cut thing where you just draw the line as it was, it's just what felt natural and what didn't.
Right.
You know,
right.
like you know, they'd say like, you know, I'd have teachers, you know, because I was a stocky kid, you know, and I always had my teachers want me to play football. They give a shit about football. I gave a shit when Kiss Alive 2 was coming out. That was more important to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
so you start finding things to gravitate towards, records, bands. And back then, of course, there was no internet. There was not really even any easy to find fanzines,
3 channels and maybe 1 UHF channel.
Right. So, I think back to all the concerts I missed just because I had no idea they were happening. When Devo played Greensboro in 1980, I had no idea. If you didn't pick up the right magazine or hear the right person say it, you didn't know what was going on. So it's interesting how music fans like us who get into the more underground stuff have to really work to learn about our passion, and what will become a lifelong passion. And so I'm always interested to hear from people like you on how that all starts and how you start off your life being dressed by your parents, and then you decide at some point, not necessarily I want to be a weirdo, but you decide at some point that you have your aesthetic and your look that you're going to continue for the rest of your life no matter what. Kind of like this. Like I've worn bracelets on my wrist since I was a teenager. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just feels natural, right? But you start gravitating towards these things that are going to be your whole lifelong deal,
Yeah. Yep.
So that's what I'm wondering. Like, was there a time when you all of a sudden decided, all right, here's how I'm going to look. I'm going to change some things up. Was it just to mimic your rock idols, or was it other reasons?
I would have to say with the way I thought I was going to try to look, it had to do with music, and I think as a kid, I mean, and this might sound real weird, but I think kids that were kind of on the outside, outsider kids will understand this. But I always envisioned myself looking the way I thought was really cool, even though it was nowhere near reality.
Yeah, it's like me being born with curly hair and wanting a mohawk. It just wasn't going to happen.
I remember when I got Ted Nugent's Double Live Gonzo. Man, it's like a new album back then. See, like the cool thing about it was a lot of these groups I discovered already had some albums out, so collecting was fun. I had no idea. Like when I got Double Live Gonzo, I had no idea how many records there were before this one. I didn't know how close the one after this was going to be. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Look at that record, and I remember saying to my dad one time, I said, "You see that?" I said, "I'm going to grow my hair like that." Up in this GD house, you are
not. Did he ever come to respect your decisions in music, rock and roll? Or?
Yeah.
That's good.
Like, man, there are some great stories with just little interactions with me and my dad. We weren't very close, and but the things I remember, I can remember a few really nice things he did for me as a dad, but
yeah.
But mostly I remember the little shitty exchanges we had because they were hilarious. There's been great, man. I'll never forget. Hey.
By the way, hey everybody in the chat, thanks for coming. Hello, everybody. I'm just saying hi to people in the chat, seeing who's here. Sophia, Eddie, Vinyl Guru, Danny, Kia, Shane. Hello, everybody. So yeah.
But like I remember one time, and this time he really got kind of like nasty. You know, like it was. I don't know if maybe I'd been a little bigger, it might have come to this. I don't know, but I was watching something on a Saturday afternoon, man, like at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was watching it was a thing called the Blue Jean Network, and Alice was on this. And my old man, he comes from doing yard work. He comes walking through the living room, and he catches that, and his eye is like, "Good gosh, what are you watching this dope taking?" You know, and every other word he could think of to describe a narrative well at that time came out of his. And my mom just came through there, and she's just like, "Kemp, why don't you leave the boy alone?" You know, and she sits down in the chair. She's watching, and she hears Alice sing. I don't know. I Never Cry or something. And she just looks up from her newspaper or whatever and says, "You know, that boy's got a pretty voice if you just didn't have to look
at him." That's great.
Think about Rod Stewart.
Yeah. I remember me and my mom watching Devo on I don't know, Solid Gold or something, and I remember her saying, "I really like the way they move." And they just happened to be doing the song jerking back and forth, so they're making those, humping motions, and she was like, "Oh, I like that." Yeah. Oh, so this kind of leads to when I met you guys, when I met you and Joe, I had never thought about being in a band. I mean, we probably fantasized about it a little bit, but when I met you guys, and then you or Joe, one of you let me hear some Jeff Leppard or Judas Bullet. I think it was early Jeff Leppard cassette. Maybe it was Mindy that let me hear it. But when I heard that, and the fact that you guys were making music with, I don't know, just whatever was around the house, recording on a boombox or whatever it was, inside jokes, and I was like, oh, if that is a band, I can do a band. I mean, like, I can do that. And that's when Joe taught me the one chord, and then I started bands. But just to put it in perspective, here's the first flyer I ever saw at the record store in the mall. I think it was Record. God, what was it called? It wasn't Record Bar. It was in Richway Mall. And this flyer.
I know the story you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it. Man, that wasn't a record seller, was it?
No, I don't remember what the store was called. Record something. But anyway, this was the first flyer that me and Mindy Schaefer saw in the store, and I was like, "That's got to be punk rock. That's got to be a punk show." And we had been talking about, because we knew new wave and we knew heavy metal, but we weren't really up to date on a lot of punk rock stuff. So we saw that flyer, and I took it, and that's the very same flyer I took that day. And we went to that show. And just for shits and giggles, here's another really early one that I picked off the wall from the Yellow Rose, right? And look at that young Brad Cates, or Bill Cates. Wait, look at Bill. Look how skinny he is.
How skinny we all were.
I know. But so that really, you really set me on a trajectory without even knowing it, probably. You were just being nice to some kid, but you guys set me on a whole path in life that I maybe wouldn't have gotten on. I would have never had the confidence to get on that path until I heard some stupid shit like Jeff Leppard, and then I was like, "What? This is great!" But so was there a moment like that? What gave you the confidence, or gave you the real idea that you could form a band and do something with it? What was there a moment?
I would say in the in the later part of the 70s, me and some friends had guitars, and we had a guy on drums, guy on bass, and man, we tried to play Aerosmith, we tried to play Nugent, Kiss, and we just couldn't do it. Yeah, we just were not that skilled, you know. We just like, how do you even get that skilled, you know? Like, we don't want to wait till we're old to play. We want to play now. I guess the thing that changed that was the first time one of us came across Rocket to Russia.
Oh.
And that's when the the lights went off, the flashers went like this. We like heard the ding, 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 ding. Yep, that's the road we need to go down right there.
Yeah.
And and that we could do,
Mm-hmm.
and we did it. And so in a matter of months, we were doing shows.
So what was it like? Were you? I mean, me, I was totally not a confident kid. I was always getting picked on. It wasn't like I wanted to be on stage in front of a bunch of people, but I did it because I was just drawn to it somehow. I was terrified of being on stage in front of people, especially that first show that we opened for you guys. The first show you ever gave Rabid Salesman. I was petrified. I had no idea what was going to happen, but what was your first time on stage like, being in front of people like that? Were you at all?
I'll say this. I say this, and people think I'm trying to be funny, but I'm not. But I am by nature a very shy person.
Mm-hmm.
I think talking in front of people has only kind of come as a second nature thing to me in the last few years. I've always been. I mean, Joe used to be the spokesman and stuff, but it was never, and I don't think it was like, oh, I just got to be in front of a bunch of people and be adored. I think we were more drawn to the fact that you could make people react, good or bad,
Yeah.
whichever, but both were fine.
Yeah.
Both equally as impressive to us.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are really good. Okay, that's sweet. You guys are fucking terrible. Hey.
Yeah.
And the first time we ever played in front of an audience, it was my band that I had in Albemarle. We call ourselves Kamikaze. And we auditioned for what was called the Norwood JCs. It's a civic group, that does stuff for the community and all this kind of stuff. But it was the Norwood JCs talent show. And it was at South Stanley High School. And I remember we went to for the audition. And man, we didn't know anything about how much equipment you would need for what room, what size. So we just brought everything we had. And man, it must have looked like Blue Cheer was playing. I mean, we had these gigantic speaker cabinets that we built, and we just wanted it to look impressive. And I remember we came on, and they said, "Okay, Kamikaze, you want to go ahead and do a song for us?" And man, we were pretty damn proficient. These guys could play, And I just walk up to the mic, all shy, and I get the mic, and all of a sudden I just belted out, "London's burning." So we do that, and like we don't even get to the first verse, and they're like, "Oh."
Oh my God. What a down.
They're like, "Yeah, you got to turn that down a little bit, And before long, we're silent, and they say, "Okay, yeah, that's good," and we're just like, and then we see. This was a very early and good lesson in music business. We learned that the group putting on the event was going to be the group that won the talent show.
Ah.
And they were playing very tame, neutered versions of Chuck Berry songs and stuff. And so we said, okay, well, we see what we're going up against. So let's pick something that maybe people know. So we did. To us, it was a Ramones song, but to everybody else, it was a Beach Boys song. We did "Let's Dance," and we did "Stepping Stone" for us, Sex Pistols. For everyone else, Monkeys.
That's good.
So we did those. We smashed the guitar. They put us on first, so that we could just hurry up and be done with it and get off. But man, I don't think I've ever, as far as being in front of an audience, that has never, like, given me the nerves. That's just never been. It's way harder for me to go on in front of an audience of about 15 or 20 people that are standing, 3 feet away from you. That's way more
Right.
intimidating.
Right. The stage is kind of a safe zone almost. Yeah. So, okay. So more about being a music fan and a collector. You have a lot of records, right? You have a lot of probably CDs. You probably have a lifetime collection of media. As a collector, how do you manage it? I mean, do you have to kind of convince yourself not to buy so much, or do you just not buy much anymore, or like how do you work it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess when you start running out of room, that kind of takes care of it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like I love collecting posters, movie posters, but man, I don't have 1 more inch of space in this house.
Yeah, I know. That's the same problem I have.
Like, I look behind me, see, that's a brick wall too. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't really have like a. I guess there was a time when I had certain categories that I was going after wherever I went, flea markets,
Mm-hmm.
anything. But now, man, it's like me and my wife just collect stuff from our childhood,
Mm-hmm.
stuff from
Yep.
the '60s, mainly in the '70s. I mean, and it could be anything from a rug to a bunch of glasses to light fixtures and lamps. We just love surrounding ourselves in that stuff. And we have a mid. It's called a mid-century modern house. It was built in '57. So any of that stuff looks great in here.
Yeah.
Like in 1957, this house looked like the Jetsons' house.
Wow.
And people were like, ooh, that's kind of now, kind of wow.
Posh pad. Yeah, the posh pad. All right. So what's the what can you think of a music related item that you received lately, whether it was a gift or you purchased it that you're really happy about?
Yes, just yesterday. I come home, we've been in lockdown like everybody else, but I am essential, so I've been working every day. So it hasn't really been that much different for me, but
Mm-hmm.
but except for for about 2 months, my wife was out of work.
Mm-hmm.
She just went. But I came home yesterday, bunch of stuff in my arms from work. I walk up on the porch and there's a thing package there for me, and it's from my friend Jeff Williams from Concord. And I was like, I have, maybe he found an old book or something that he didn't want no more, and he figured I'd like it. Man, he sent me a brand new copy of the Motorhead um, box set of the album Bomber.
Oh wow. Is that just came out recently?
Yeah, last year or so, I guess. And
Oh yeah.
it's one of the things that I see it. I probably wouldn't buy it for myself, but I'm thinking, God, I'd really like to have that,
Yeah.
But he said, man, I bought that for you 2 months ago. I was just gonna, kind of a thanks for the stuff you've done for me and all this stuff. And I was just like, he goes, but then Armageddon happened, and I never got a chance to see you, so I just mail it to you.
That's cool.
Yeah, surprise.
So what kind of stuff was in that box?
Like all kind of pictures of them from that time period, all the lyrics, the pictures of the bomber light rig, that they had. It's like 3 records. It's remastered version of Bomber, and then 2 records of a live show from that time period. And it comes in the big fold out case, and
Mm-hmm.
it was it it was very impressive. I thought that was a really great gift, and I'm very glad he gave it to me.
That's cool.
Man,
You know.
to be honest with you, our fans send me stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the other day, a fella sent me that Life magazine that was just on Godzilla. Just
Yeah.
sent it to me. Out of
Yeah.
the blue, didn't trade anything, didn't
Yeah. Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I've found that once you get into this kind of music industry in whatever way, and you're passionate about it, things come to you. You know, I don't really have to buy Devo stuff anymore. It always just gets sent to me. So it's like it's a beautiful thing to be a part of when you're that passionate about something, and then you get into that stream of getting it for free all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
And the thing is, I never take that for granted, and I never feel like I deserve it or
right.
expect it
Hmm.
like that. It really blows my mind when it happens. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
people are nice.
people just send me boxes of wrestling figures. Here, Clayton, you want these? I had one guy a box full of kung fu movies.
Wow. Where do you put it
Yeah,
all?
and see, when you like as much different stuff as I do, you know, people can pretty much get it right on the on the
Yeah,
nose.
yeah, yeah. Predictable what you would like, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so what was the first concert you saw, and how did you even figure out concerts existed? Like, what was the first time you?
In the I guess I went to a few concerts and didn't realize I was really at a concert. My grandfather used to take me to a town called Faith, North Carolina, on the 4th of July. And man, this must have been 67 or 68. I just remember, you know, there were local North Carolina garage bands playing there. You know, they had the matching suits, you know, the tremolo amps, you know, the girl playing the keyboard, the Farfisa keyboard, and so, you know, all that.
Yeah,
And you know, I was just mesmerized because I was like, wow, I'm seeing a band. I have no idea who they are. I don't know what this song is, but it's a band and I like it. You know,
yeah.
and and I guess I saw, you know, bands like I saw things like that. But man, the first concert that I ever that was like big and and has an impact, and I talk about it to this very day, was Kiss and Nantucket, January '78 in Charlotte, the Alive 2 tour.
I saw that same tour in Ohio, Cleveland, December.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, well, you saw about a month before I did
yeah, yeah. I was 9.
then. Ooh, excuse me.
That's all good.
Coronavirus.
Did you get a tour shirt?
No, like man, I was. Matter of fact, the one of the last conversations me and Bill Cates had was about that concert.
Really?
Not this past Friday, but the Friday before. The Friday before the Friday where he passed away. We were in this very room and we were talking about first we were talking about our ages. Bill was just a little bit older than me. Bill was already 57, and I'll be 57 in November. And we were saying like, when was the first time? Like he was talking about the first time he laid eyes on Kiss, and he saw him on Mike Douglas. So I'm like, well, you saw him a couple years before I did, because the first time I ever watched Kiss in motion, you know, could see how they, you know, were and moved, was the Paul Lynde Halloween special.
That's the one I saw. That's the first time I saw Kiss moving around. Blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Let me tell you how I had to watch it. My mom was a Sunday school teacher, and the Sunday school was having their Halloween party at the church youth hall on the same night that fucking Paul Lynde's on. And so I'm just like, man, I'm bargaining in every way I can, man. It's like I don't want to go. I want to see Kiss. You know?
That's great.
And man, she's like, look, here's what I'm gonna do, because there was two other guys that were my buddies, also in this church youth group. That, you know, if someone had said, well, you can lose a finger and then you can see Kiss, it'd be chop, you know. And so they said, all right, we're gonna let y'all bring a little black and white TV in here, you know, and at 8 o'clock you can watch the show until Kiss comes on, and then you cut it off and you participate in what we have going on. All right, good compromise. I had to watch it in black and white, but we got to watch it. Well, we saw Detroit Rock City. We assumed that was it. So they cut the TV off. Then we find out they did and King of the Nighttime World. We're like, ah!
Oh man. That's great. You know, it's just interesting how you really had to work to watch stuff back then. You really had to be at the right place at the right time. There was no, you know, you couldn't record it. You couldn't do anything like that.
I mean, we had tinfoil on this damn antenna in this building. We're going, like it still looked like they were raining confetti the whole time because we were watching it on that shitty TV. But
yeah. Well, so here, if I just want to make sure everybody in the chat knows that you can post a question if you want to post a question to Jeff, and I will try to see it. Or maybe Jeff, you can see the chat, right? Can you see the comments? No, you can't. Okay. Well, I will let you know if people have questions for you. So yeah. So what are you looking forward to doing after we're back to normal or whatever? Is it something that you're looking forward to do with the band, or are you looking forward to doing music related stuff not related to the band, maybe going to see shows, or what do you
I was really looking forward to this May going to see Rose Tattoo up in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
I don't go to shows anymore, man, but if Rose Tattoo's in the States, I'm going. So
mm-hmm.
I was looking forward to that, and it didn't happen. Their whole tour got canceled. And I also had tickets to Hall & Oates with Squeeze, and that got canceled. We also have tickets for Bauhaus, and I'm pretty sure that's been canceled too.
Oh man, yeah, Bauhaus was going to play with Devo in May, but that didn't happen. I think it's rescheduled now for September, but I'm not sure. Who knows what's going to happen.
We're supposed to see them in September.
Yeah. I mean,
it might still be on. We're going to see them in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. That sounds cool. So, so when you first started meeting people that had your same musical taste as a kid, like I'm not talking about your family, your brother or whatever. I'm talking about just people out in the wild. How did you typically meet people? Or did you have to go to record stores, or was it just happen to be people at school?
Well, man, I would guess, early on, especially when we were living down in Mississippi and all, like our school bus, we'd get on the elementary school bus, and then we'd have to swing around to the high school and pick up those kids at high school, and then they'd all take us back to the trailer park we all lived at. And I remember, there'd be some of the older guys on there, that had long hair, and you'd see maybe a shirt or something from a show they'd seen, And so, man, when I was shy for the most part, but man, when it came to digging for some information, like if I saw somebody wearing, like I don't know what it would have been back then, like a Bad Company or a Fog Hat shirt, I knew that they're into the kind of stuff that I like and I want to know more about. And I'd ask them, where did you get that shirt?
Yeah.
And most of the times, I guess I was asking good enough questions that they didn't think I was some annoying kid.
Yeah.
And I remember, man, the first time I saw a girl wearing a Kiss shirt, I fell in love with her. I don't know what she looked like, but I knew what that Kiss shirt looked like.
That's great. Oh, we have a question here from Shane Taylor. What was Jeff's favorite artwork on an ANTiSEEN album?
My favorite artwork on the ANTiSEEN album?
Mm-hmm. If you could pick one.
I was always real fond of the piece that Nick Bugas did for the Hell.
Right.
Barry didn't like it because he put him in a weird spacesuit, but I always liked
it. Barry's not down with the spacesuit, huh? No. That's cool. Let's see here. Eric Squires says, ANTiSEEN, you rule. There we go. First Motorhome is watching from the UK. Let's see here. New Zealand is watching. Somebody in New Zealand. Vinyl Guru is in here. Okay, yeah. So there's I'm keeping an eye on more questions as we get them here. All right. So let's see what else I have on my notes here. Well, I mean, let me ask you this. How often do you run into young people, teenagers, or that you have a chance to influence musically somehow, and how do you do that? Not people, not your family, obviously, just young people that you might run into.
Well, on the last big tour we did with the Obsessed and I Hate God, we would meet younger people that would just come up and talk to us, and they're like, "Man, we've heard of you guys, for like 10 years, but we never listened to you, never saw you, and we, after tonight, we're fans, and that's really good, especially coming from young people today, because you can pretty much. I don't mean to lump all young people into a group, but you can pretty much tell what they're gonna like, and
Right.
we don't fit that category.
Right. Yeah.
But when we do, man, it's a real compliment. I just remember I was standing at the merch stand, and I turned in this kid. I mean, this kid must have been 20, maybe 20 years old, and he was wearing a Chrome shirt.
Oh.
And I said, "What's a young guy like you wearing a Chrome shirt for?" And he's like, "Oh, I love Helios Creed." I was like, "Man, that's cool."
Yeah, that is really cool. That's fantastic. Now there was one more thing I was going to ask you, and I just forgot. Oh, here's what it was. What was it like when you form ANTiSEEN, you're doing your thing, and then you finally come out with that first piece of vinyl or cassette, whatever it may be, that first recorded thing that you actually released and you put out to people and you could hold it in your hand? Do you remember that being any, did you feel that moment happening? Were you like, oh my God, this is our first record? Or was it just like, what was that like?
When we put out Drastic, we were very well aware of the implications of it being our first record. We were under the impression it would be also be our last.
Mm-hmm.
We had no intention, but man, the fact that and now this is going to show my age, but the fact that we had those records pressed, we paid for, we paid every dime of it. They were shipped to us in plain white sleeves. We got the covers printed somewhere else. We wanted it to be, we didn't want it to be like Xerox paper that folded over. We wanted it to be a cover.
Right.
So we printed on cardstock, and we traced a record that we took apart.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me. Yeah.
Folded the flaps,
Mm-hmm.
scored the lines and folded. Yes, it was a pain in the ass, but man, it was such a feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah.
That I think. I mean, I don't know how young bands today can get that same feeling. I mean,
yeah.
They do something and they upload it or download it or app it or or whatever, and all of a sudden, well, within 20 minutes, 700 people know about it.
Yeah.
I just don't see where the reward comes in. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, maybe the reward that we felt was because we had to put so much effort into making that physical product. You had to, do the graphics, print the covers, put them all together, get them out to stores. You had to do all that stuff.
About buying press-on letters.
Yeah.
And doing each, like each thing, each word.
Yeah.
And if one were bigger than you had to take it to the copy place and get it reduced, then bring it back, cut it out. And I mean, I'm glad things are the way they are right now, but I would not trade that experience for anything in the world.
Yeah. I mean, every band I've been in, it's imperative for me to make sure we record something and it comes out in some kind of physical form, whether it's a cassette or a record or a CD or something. It doesn't make sense to me to be in a band and not put something out that's immortal, basically, So I love that feeling. Here's a question, and I'm going to try this. I think I can click the question and it'll pop up on the screen. There we go. You see that?
Man, I know it's there, but I cannot read that.
It says, whose dog was on the cover of the Jurassic EP and what was its name?
Oh, that belonged to a fella named Jeff Haney. He took that picture. It was at his house, and that was his Doberman Pinscher named Baron.
That's cool. I never knew that. I never even thought to ask that. Thank you for that question, Ian Hines. That's awesome. So I don't want to keep you too much longer. I thank you for coming. You know, I've been trying to get special guests on. Yeah, I've been trying to get special guests on every now and then. You're the second one I've had, and it's working pretty smoothly, right? I mean, you can hear, and I don't know why you can't see the chat, but yeah, everything's going pretty smooth. So, is there anything?
I just want everybody to know how long I've known you, and you know, I don't know if you've been watching the broadcast we've been.
I've seen most of them. I missed the last one or two.
Well, we keep talking about this thing called that inner circle, that family, and man, this guy right here. That guy right there. Been in from day one in some way, shape, or form. I mean, man, he was a kid coming into a club that he knew damn well they weren't going to let him in at showtime. You know, they'd come in and watch sound check, record the, and then, you know, we'd go talk to them or something, and then, you know, they'd have to leave, and they were left beaming.
Yeah, that's how I saw Dirty Rotten Imbeciles for the first time. I saw their sound check. They were really nice. They gave me a T-shirt, but I couldn't stay for the show because I had a curfew.
Yeah. And now Pilmer does our website. He's been doing it at a website, and he's probably shocked and amazed every day how much I don't understand any of what is going on with it.
Look, I do websites partially for a living, and I barely understand it. So, so there you go. I just do it because it's a means to an end. You know, it's like websites are just such a necessity. If you're a musician or a music fan or whatever, you just, you know, you have to have your website. So, you know, the only reason I started doing websites was because Devo and other bands like you, they had sites that weren't being updated correctly, and the information was old. And I was like, look, just let me do it. I'll learn how to do it, and I'll keep it updated. Right? I just got frustrated, people not keeping their sites updated. So it was just a means to an end. If I could have somebody else do all that shit for me, I would in a minute. I hate doing that stuff. Hate doing that website stuff. All right, let me scroll through the chat here. Just make sure nobody has any other questions. Sometimes the chat gets kind of paused here, so let me make sure. But yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. Now, in closing, Jeff, what advice, I know there's some young people watching here, 15, 16 years old, some Devo fan friends of mine. What would you probably always get asked is, what kind of advice would you give somebody, blah, 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 who wants to start a band? But I mean, what kind of advice, or what do you have to say to people who are just passionate about music, and they maybe don't know how to express it? Maybe they don't feel comfortable being in a band. Maybe, I mean, how do you get your rocks off being a music fan if you don't quite feel comfortable doing what you do, you know?
Well, finding the right people is an ongoing thing and one of the hardest things to do. But when you find those people, you'll know it. And here's the thing: don't ever give up, man. Just because it gets a little hard, don't give up. I'm not going to say anything real philosophical, man, but you know you just can't be ground down by all the failures, man, because the failures are what you got to treat. The failures like stairs, man. You got to climb the stairs eventually. And I would say, don't set your sights to anything unreasonable. Our sights were we're like, man, we'll get a band together. We'll get to open for Black Flag. We get to get in for free. Open for DOA. You know, and we did. We opened for the Dickies, and Red Cross, and not only did we not have the circle jerks, and not only did we not have to pay, but we got paid.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and that was our goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we maybe one day we'll do a 7-inch. Well, 170 something records later, here we are.
Yeah. Well, and I guess a lot of this has to do with what you were talking about earlier. If you're a music fan or you're kind of an outcast, and you need to find that family. When you and I hooked up so many years ago, and you became immediately part of my family, more than my real family is a lot of the time. So you have to find those people and stay close, because then even in your failures, you have that family of people that are passionate about music around you. And
they are out there. You just gotta find them.
That's right.
And they're looking just as hard as you are.
Yeah. But you don't have to look as hard anymore because of the damn internet.
Right. It's easier now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like in this chat here, we've got, like I said, young people and people that are meeting each other in the chat. There's ANTiSEEN fans meeting Devo fans, and hopefully that leads to some lifelong friendships or some collaborations along the way.
That's true.
But look, everybody go to ANTiSEEN.com. If you're unfamiliar with the band and want to see their discography and what they've been doing, you can also go to their Facebook page, ANTiSEEN Official. Is it called ANTiSEEN Official, or it's just ANTiSEEN?
Just ANTiSEEN.
So check them out. Also, Jeff, if you ever want to start doing live streams on your actual ANTiSEEN page, I think all you have to have is 1,000 subscribers, if I'm not mistaken, and then you can start doing that kind of thing. But if you need help figuring that out, let me know, because I think it would be great.
Well, whenever I'm ready to take that leap, you're going to be the guy I call. So just go.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think you'll find it fun, and especially if your channel becomes monetized and you make a little bit every month on doing this kind of stuff. It kind of gives you a good alibi reason to do it, and it feels good to connect with all these people. So,
and we also have Bandcamp now.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's always good. And they've been waiving the fees for people buying music there lately, as far as like they give the bands all the profit, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah, said Christy GS says, great chat. Thanks. Really enjoyed the conversation. My friend from Finland, Tav, says, I've been struggling with finding the right people in my country. There doesn't seem to be anybody into what he's into, is what he's saying. So you got to be strong, man. You especially with the internet at your fingertips, you could meet people from all over the world and stay in touch, kind of like we're doing right now, at least, find some kind of camaraderie.
You're from Finland, look up the SF Unborn from Finland. Great band.
I told him to look into Impaled Nazarene as well, one of my favorite bands from Finland. So this has been great. Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it. Thanks for letting me do the website and living out rock and roll dreams. I mean, one of my rock and roll dreams came true when I got to design an ANTiSEEN shirt. So yeah, thanks. Those are big moments in my life. Most people look forward to their kids graduating or whatever, or getting a new car. I'm all about, I got to do a shirt for ANTiSEEN, man. So thanks a lot for letting me be a part of this whole thing.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Let's do it again sometime. Maybe when you have some product to push or something, or a tour to talk about, we'll get you on here again if it makes sense.
Maybe time when I can walk around with this thing and I'll show you all my collection.
Yeah, and I'll do. And I can. The thing is, when I'm using this program that lets me split the screen and invite people in, I can only use my laptop, so it's kind of hard to carry it around. But if I'm on my regular YouTube stream without sharing a screen, I could show you around as well. But yeah, we'll do this again, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And everybody in the chat, I'm going to hang out for just a few more minutes after Jeff leaves to update you on some Devo stuff real quick. But yeah, Jeff, praise, hail, thank you.
Thank you, Homer.
All right, man. Later.
Good night, everyone.
All right, everybody. That was great. All right, so people still in the room, let me tell you, the clubdevo.com store that everybody's been waiting for, I've been waiting for, we've been working for months, probably about 4 or 5 months trying to get this ready. And we're at a point now where tomorrow morning, everybody be on the alert. At some point tomorrow morning, not early morning, sometime in the regular people morning, we're going to launch the store. And I will be posting something on my YouTube page to help launch the store. And so it's going to be exciting tomorrow. It's going to be really exciting for all you devotees. Thank you again, everybody, for coming. I hope some people here learned about ANTiSEEN for the first time, and I hope they look into them. You know, they changed my life in such a big way. You know, they were the first underground music band, the first, you know, punk rock that I got to be this close to and interact with and hear. You know, it's the first time I heard punk rock coming out of amplifiers right in front of my face. And it just changed my life. It was like Jeff was describing hearing the Ramones for the first time. It really blew my mind. And I think it's great that anybody who's a music fan gets to have those experiences in life, and they remain with you even when you're old like me. Sophia says, yeah, ANTiSEEN. Sophia, it's a large catalog of songs. They're my favorite rock and roll rednecks. They're my hillbilly family. They're my punk rock comrades from way back. So love to them. Love to all you guys. Thanks for showing up. Next Thursday, I'll just do a regular old chat where we just hang out. I won't have a special guest, I don't think, unless I've got another couple special guests from another one of my favorite bands in the wings. We're waiting to kind of set up a date and a time for them. But maybe next Thursday I'll take a break from guests. We'll just do another chat. Maybe I'll have some news or something to show you. Over the next few days, I will be posting some videos. Tomorrow morning, like I said, I'll be posting a video about Club Devo's new store, new products. And even with all this pandemic and all the delays and the obstacles that we had to go around, we still have a pretty good looking catalog. Not as big as we wanted to have, obviously, but a pretty good catalog to start off with. So I'm really excited about that. Also, I'll be posting another video in a few days that'll be really interesting for you guys to watch. I can't tell you much about that yet, but thank you. Love to you guys. May the rock and roll gods bless ye. And sorry about the chat pausing. I knew something went wrong with the chat earlier, but we'll figure it out. And everybody stay positive, stay productive, and rock and roll, all right? Please rock and roll, y'all. Please rock and roll.